Hey there, YouTube. This is CFL Fanatic giving you my picks for Week 18 in the CFL, the 2011 CFL season. Should be interesting. 2 weeks to go. Just about a month now until Grey Cup 2011. So obviously it'll be pretty exciting, especially in the new BC Place Stadium. And boy, have we got one hell of a race for the tops of the divisions. It's really good. So last week I was so close, 3-1. I don't know why the hell I picked Saskatchewan over Calgary, and unfortunately Schultz went 4-0. So while I am 37-27, he's 38-26. So he beat me on that one. I went against Tate because I didn't think he'd do well. So hopefully Schultz loses a little bit, and unfortunately I'm not really in the mood to disagree with any of his picks this week. Okay, on to Week 18. First up, Toronto taking on Winnipeg. Logic says this should be a pretty easy match for Winnipeg, and it's also a very important one for them too, as with a Winnipeg win this week, followed by a Montreal loss on Sunday, Winnipeg will go one game ahead of Montreal, which means that the best Montreal can hope for is to tie Winnipeg, and since Winnipeg's won 2 out of 3 matches in the event of a tiebreaker, Winnipeg gets first place. So a win here will go a long way to potentially clinching first place in the CFL East. And it'll be the first time that a team other than Montreal has had first place in the East since 2007, back when the Argos didn't suck. So yeah, should be a pretty straightforward match. Winnipeg coming off a big comeback win against Montreal. Toronto nearly pulling off an insane comeback win against Edmonton, but unfortunately it was not to be. I don't imagine there will be much coming back. I'm gonna go with Winnipeg for this one. I think this one will be pretty easy for them. All right, on to Hamilton and Saskatchewan. I learned my lesson last week about picking Saskatchewan. This offense is truly just about the worst in the league. The defense didn't do too badly against Calgary in the second half of the game, but just this offense has been unable to get any momentum going. And unlike Toronto's offense, which now that the pressure is off is kind of kicking into gear, they did at least near the end of the game last week. They really kicked it up. Saskatchewan's offense for the past 5 weeks has just been unable to generate anything even resembling momentum. And, you know, like, it's without a doubt been a really disappointing season for the Riders, and they really have to look ahead. But on the other hand, Hamilton crushing BC's 8-game win streak, crushing BC, who is without a doubt the hottest team in the league going into last week, crushing them 42-10. Hamilton's going to carry over that momentum. They really want to continue to stay strong in the East. I am going with Hamilton to win this one. All right, now this is the big one. This one will definitely be the game of the week. Edmonton taking on BC. So in terms of standings, Edmonton right now sits in sole possession of first place in the CFL West. They are 10-6. However, BC is right behind them in a tie for second with Calgary, both teams at 9-7. So, this could shape up to be a very interesting matchup, and I think it ultimately will be. Now, BC, Edmonton is coming off of a 31-24 victory against Toronto. However, even though they went up 31-3, they almost lost it. They let Toronto score a touchdown, then recover a squib kick, score another touchdown. Then when all they had to do was run out the clock, they fumbled it again and nearly let Toronto score another touchdown to tie the game. So Edmonton definitely has to step up their game near the end. Now BC, I know what you're saying, they're coming off of getting flattened, and as weird as this sounds, that drilling that they received by Hamilton, that is exactly what the BC Lions needed. It means that they'll value their wins more, and BC will be looking to wipe that off the slate, taking BC. All right, so on to Calgary and Montreal. Again, another big one. Montreal, if Winnipeg wins against Toronto tonight, which is pretty likely, then Montreal needs to win this game against Calgary in order to keep their chances of hosting the East Division final alive. Now, Calgary is also in an interesting situation because they did beat Saskatchewan, but that offense in the second half didn't look too great. And it really, I'm really not liking their decision to keep going with Tate. I'm really hoping that they're going to put Burris in because, if you think you're going to get very far in the playoffs with an amateur quarterback, I don't care how hot he is. I really don't think, because every quarterback has a hot streak. And Drew Tate is looking very hot right now, but he's not, he doesn't have really much playoff experience, so I think it's going to be bad for the Stampeders if they keep doing this. And right now in Montreal, I got to take the Alouettes in this one. So those are my picks in case you missed them. Just a shorter video this week. So definitely try. I know it's late for all us people in the Eastern time zone, but if you can, watch Edmonton and BC because I think that's going to be the game of the week, and it's going to be a really interesting one as the race heats up. So I'm CFL Fanatic, and I'll see you next week.